Going live, going live, going live. Hey, good morning. This is the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. It is about 7:19 on a Sunday, and this is our 321st episode talking about Agile and Scrum. Cut myself saving a little bit. Anyway, it's been a long week, and we're almost through it. Yay! Being goofy. Lots of things going on today. Lots of fun events, and I forgot what we do. We haven't done so long. No, we do a 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show, and it's a little bit later than normal, but it is the weekend, so we're not worried about that so much. And we're here to talk about Scrum and Agile in a practical and tactical way, so everybody can get home, everybody can get the work done, and without working 60, 80 hours a week, and bring more value to the customer and have a little fun along the way, right? So today I just want to talk about it's not a simple topic, but it's a topic I'd like to talk about. And that's time management. Yesterday, talked about time boxes. Yesterday, I put a thing about sharp edges and time boxes, right? And time boxes are meant to be very distinctly organized and not big, fluffy, buffy little bunny rabbits, right? And I think what people do a lot of times, they abuse that and they turn to time boxes and they make them fluffy buffies. Here's the problem, right? So, but what I don't want you to do, reason why I want to talk about this, I don't want people to become like, there's other types of Scrum Masters out there that if they give you a half hour, 15-minute time box for a daily Scrum, or a half hour for a meeting, or an hour for a meeting, that at that point in time, boom, they kill it, right? They kill all discussion, do all that. That's not how you run a meeting. And I just wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit in a couple different ways this morning, because I don't want everybody to go away thinking, well, Greg Mester said that time boxes have to be perfectly, sharp edges, be done. It's always equal, same thing. And then we can't go off that, which we shouldn't. The problem is, are we setting ourselves up for success with the time boxes? The answer is probably no. So we have our time box, right? Time box, right? My question for you, a couple things. One, your agenda. When you have an agenda, so many people come in a meeting and don't do agenda. Do you have one? Okay, great. Did you share the agenda? Or did you just give it right there before the meeting? Question, right? Is your agenda so long right? You got all this stuff to do. And typically when you do your meetings, how much stuff can you really get done? If it's a half-hour meeting, can you get all these agenda items? I know some people that put like they put like a million things in the agenda, right? So the question is, how much can you get really done? If you put all these things in your agenda, your time box is going to be a fluffy, wuffy, because it ain't going to work, right? It ain't going to make it. It's not going to pass it. Your agenda should maybe be these three things. Those other things don't get talked about. Set yourself up for success for the agenda so that can fit in there in the time box. This will never fit in that time box. Now, here's another thing that people do, and I notice. They start scheduling meetings. If you ever see people's Outlook, one right after another, right? So if you have your discussion and you're doing this way, there's no give or take to the next meeting. Maybe you need to put a buffer zone. If you're the meeting coordinator, just because Outlook says your meeting starts at 11 doesn't mean, and it goes from 11 to 11:30, doesn't mean you go from exactly 11 to 11:30, because there's people coming in and out those meetings. However, if you have a real Scrum team, that shouldn't happen. But most organizations don't have a real Scrum team, so they have people going to different meetings, leaders or architects or something like that, depending on how complicated the system is. So maybe you need a buffer. So maybe instead of starting at 11 a.m., though you put it on the calendar for 11 a.m., you officially start at 11:03, right? And maybe not 11:30, but maybe you end at 11:25. And what do? You tell everybody in advance that's what you're going to do, right? So that's how you set it up. This is what your meeting should be like. And you, as Scrum Master or to facilitate your organization, have to be aware of the time box. That's your job. To understand the time box, to facilitate the time box. If you do not understand that, then you should not be a Scrum Master. You should not be a facilitator. You should not run a freaking meeting ever, right? But you have to be courteous of that little buffer zone for the time, right? So that your time box is successful. So going to this and say, oh, it's 11:30, we're done, everybody out, or the 15 minutes for the daily scrum, or say, I have another meeting I got to do, so I gotta close this off. You didn't design your system appropriately, right? And that's what I see a lot of times Scrum Masters do. They screw that up and piss everybody off, and then they go, oh, you don't like Scrum. If we get a good conversation, you can't get nothing done because you don't set it up for success. So things to think about there. Now the other thing is there's a how do you have this discussion? You tell everybody how you're going to talk. So a lot of times you start off together, you have a big discussion, you bring it back, and then you talk again. You have an issue, and then you have a direction. I call it a direction or a decision. So you talk about the issue, you expand, talk about it, but then you start bringing them in, right? You have to figure out how much time you go into before you start bringing them in and say, we're going to have this discussion. Anytime we're going to talk about for 15 minutes about the issue. Then I want to bring it back in. We're going to nail down what some of the issues are. We're going to pick some things we want to solve, and then we're going to expand and talk about the options for solving those issues. And then you come down with the outcome in the meeting. But you need to put some time inside the time box so everybody knows where you're heading to get there. So what I wanted to make sure everybody understood, just because you put a time number on the thing doesn't mean you did the job. Anybody can put a time number. Anybody can say, I have a meeting or I have a daily scrum from 8 a.m. to 8:15 every day. Anybody can do that, right? The goal is to make it a successful time box. So is it the first meeting of the day? Do you start really at 8:02? I did that a lot. I did that with my team agreements. A lot of my team agreements, we'd all agree. And people didn't understand this when I did this. They're like, what are you talking about, Greg? So we would have these corporate things would come in and say, we're going to have our daily scrum at 8 o'clock in the morning. And then, for 15 minutes. Okay. So I said, all right, fine. Okay, team, what's reasonable for you to be here? So when we start this time box, start this meeting, that everybody is acceptable being there. Is it 8:02? Okay. Then 8:02, we will start. It's going to be in the calendar for 8 o'clock, but 8:02 is when we start rattling off people's names. We start going through the list of people on our team to report out how they're doing, right? To talk to everybody with their teammates, to share their experiences. And then we get out of there, which is like 8:15, depending on what's going on. Some people have those plus 15-minute things, which are good and bad in some ways. Some people don't. The question is, do you give yourself enough time to get it done so that they can go to their next meeting may have started? But you don't want people, hey, I got to go to another meeting. What does that tell you? I got to go to another meeting. It tells you the meeting you're currently in has no freaking value, and they really don't give a crap about the meeting. So when you start hearing people, I have another meeting to go to, or another thing, one, I always ask, but this is your team. Depending on your meeting, the team meeting always has precedence and priority over all the other meetings ever. It's always the team meeting. The question is, did you give yourself enough room for success? Don't be scheduling a meeting and then schedule another meeting right after that, and so on and so forth. Just something to think about. Anyway, it is Sunday. It's a weekend. I think we talked enough about that. Please give a thumbs up if you like it. There'll be some short little videos from yesterday of my putting my kids to work cleaning up trees, and maybe, who knows? We're definitely going to do a Mentos thing today. But ring the little bell if you like it. If you want to get tracking, you've got a couple coaching sessions today. I had one yesterday, it was really good. And probably try to figure out ways to share my coaching sessions with you all so that you can see what the coaching sessions are like. Sometimes they go up, sometimes they go down. It depends. But have a great day. Have fun with your family and friends. Hopefully a lot of the coronavirus stuff is over overseas. I know in some places it's coming up, and I was talking to a gentleman the other day that they're opening up their shop tomorrow in Philadelphia. So, woohoo, great. All right. Now you all enjoy your day and have fun, and we'll see you tomorrow on Monday. Take care. Bye. Thumbs up.